I was born in Ho Chi Minh City, Saigon. My brother was born when I was 3.5, 4 years old. My grandparents were in the war. My parents grew up in the war itself, and there was a lot of, you know, tragic events that happened. But interestingly enough, like there's no hatred really towards America, at least in Vietnam. Forgiveness and move on is mostly the sentiment there. I hated school when I was back in Vietnam because it was like, 7 to 4 drill. It was just hot, physical punishments. The teachers were not friendly. When I was 8, my parents decided that they would venture off to the Czech Republic to find better opportunities for my brother's education. The first thing was like a big cultural shock. Everyone was different. The streets were different, People drove cars instead of motorbikes everywhere. So we had a clothing store. So that was the business that my dad and my mom opened. And the business was doing well until the financial crisis of 2008. And then my dad got into gambling. So that fell apart. And my mom had to do manual labor for a factory for the last 2 years in the Czech Republic. And she didn't make much money, and it was tough. My parents got divorced, and it was just my mom and me and my brother in the Czech Republic. We were always, scrapping by. My mom's sense of the American dream, it was never really for her, but for me and my brother. I think I started appreciating, the American values quite early on, but the more you were immersed in it and the more you hear from people and hear the stories, the more you realize that, it's not an ideal. It's very much a reality for a lot of people, to have the American dream and to pursue it. Those values, charted in the 18th century when the founding fathers created the country, really, those have lived on ever since, and it's been centuries. But those values are still, the foundation of America and of what it is. The recent actions of the administration, they can undermine it a little bit, but there will be no significant changes about what America is. If you take a small step back, you can always take a small step forward. My hopes would be to bring technology and education to the less fortunate parts of the world, and hopefully that will make the world a little bit a better place.